Hello and welcome to the webinar. My name is Philip and I'll be presenting for you today, and in this webinar we will be demonstrating the remodeling process using Chief Architect software. Here on the right hand side you can see a picture of what the as-built structure and completed design will look like. We're going to start off the demonstration by discussing how you can document the as-built conditions of an existing home and differentiate the as-built from a remodel or an addition. We will remodel a master bathroom, add an addition, add a second-story bonus room, and show various custom ceiling design options, design the roof, add stairs, build the framing, look at the materials list, create elevations, and conclude with creating construction documents. So let's get started. So here we are in Chief Architect. Up at the top of the screen you'll have your architectural tools, and these are going to be tools like walls and doors and windows and so forth, and these same tools are available through the drop-down options at the top. Off to the right hand side we'll have our library browser, which will contain over 100,000 items and materials you can use to customize your design. The core catalogs and bonus catalogs are items produced by Chief Architect, and then Chief Architect partners with hundreds of manufacturers to get their direct content available in the program. And then we have the user catalog, where you can store items that you've custom created or that you frequently use for quick access, and you'll notice that I've got a folder with some items that we're going to use during this demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and close out of the library browser, and we'll come back to this later. And a key step of any remodeling project is documenting the existing living conditions. Chief Architect can be put on a mobile computer and synced with a Bluetooth laser, so that when you're out in the field you can directly capture the as-built measurements into the program to document the existing structure, which helps increase the speed of modeling existing conditions and ensuring the accuracy of the measurements. For our demo today, we've already gone out into the field and captured the as-built measurements of an existing home using the method just described. So I'm going to go ahead and open that file now. So here you can see our floor plan, and we can take a 3D view at any time by going up to our 3D camera tools. And I'm going to use the perspective floor overview, which removes the ceiling and the roof so that we can look into our floor plan in 3D. In your 3D view, you can rotate around by using the left click on your mouse. You can zoom in and out by using the scroll wheel, and you can pan back and forth by clicking and holding the scroll wheel. You can also work in 2D and 3D at the same time by grabbing your 3D tab over here and then just pulling it side by side with your floor plan. In Chief Architect, the remodeling process begins by differentiating the as-built plan from what will eventually become the remodel plan. When you're capturing as-built measurements, you can mark objects like walls, doors, and windows as existing to make it visually easy to differentiate existing versus new conditions in the floor plan, or have objects not be included in schedules or in the materials list. For example, if you look at these exterior walls, you'll notice that they have a light gray fill. And if we double click on the wall, you can open up the wall specifications to make changes to it. On the left hand side here, there's different panels for how this wall should interact with different parts of the plan. Here you can make the changes to the wall type. And then on the right hand side, you can see a 3D preview as to what these changes are going to look like. If we go down to the wall types panel, this wall type is a pony wall specified to be a wall type called siding 6 existing for the upper half and stone panel existing for the lower half. And both halves have a gray fill, making it easily distinguishable in the plan. And in Chief Architect, you can also add a wall cap and wall covering and other customizations for this wall. And if we look at the schedules panel, I've opted to include this wall and all the other walls in the floor plan in the wall schedule once we create one. Let's go ahead and cancel out of this dialog. And before we start working on the design, I'm going to make a copy of the as-built plan so that we can later compare the as-built plan to the remodel plan. To do this, go to File, and then Save As, and then just give it a new name, in this case Remodel. So there we have our as-built plan, which we aren't going to edit, and the remodel portion where we will be doing our design work. The last thing I want to do before we start designing is look at our default settings. If we select the wrench icon at the top, we can adjust our default settings for how objects we will add to the plan should behave. If we go down to the wall defaults and look at the pony wall defaults, the pony wall type default is currently set to be the existing wall types with a gray fill, since when we captured the as-built measurements, that's how we wanted these walls to look. However, when we add new walls to the plan, we want them to look different than the existing walls. So let's go ahead and create a new wall type called Siding 6 New and give it a unique fill color to make it easy to recognize where the new walls are at in our plan. And creating new wall types is easy in Chief Architect. So to do this, I'm going to click on Define, and here you can see all the wall types that we have, and then we can create new wall types, edit our existing wall types, and then down below here you can see the materials that make up the wall, the fill for how it should appear within our floor plan, and then the thickness of those wall layers. So let's create a copy of this wall type, and we're just going to rename it Siding 6 New. And the only change we're going to make to this wall is changing the fill color. So let's go ahead and select on the gray color, and then we're going to choose a new color for this new wall type. Click on OK. And now the upper half of the pony wall is set to be our new wall type. And then in the essence of time for the lower half, I already have our new wall type made up. So I'm just going to pick it from the list of options and press OK. And now when we draw the addition using our pony wall tool, it will be based on this new wall type. Another change we need to make to our default settings is to our standalone exterior wall defaults. So I'm just going to select this, go to wall types, and then I'm going to choose that wall type we just created and click on OK. And for this demo, in the essence of time, I've already got a few other default settings set up, such as our interior wall type and our foundation wall type, predetermined to be a new wall type that's easily recognizable in the plan. And we have a large amount of training resources on our website available for free with more detailed information on the remodeling process in Chief Architect. And with that, I'm going to press on Done. And the first part of the remodeling project is remodeling the current living quarters kind of in this area of the plan to convert the existing spare bedroom into a master bath and a larger closet. What we're going to end up doing is knocking out these closet spaces and making this a large master bath, and then making the current master bathroom into a master closet. So the first thing we're going to want to do is demo any unnecessary walls. So to do that, I'm simply going to select the wall and then just drag back the portion that I don't need. Now, at this point, you probably want to notate that there was previously a wall here that we demoed, and in Chief Architect, there's a couple of easy ways to do that. One way I'm going to notate that there was previously a wall there is by placing a note, and to do that, go up to your CAD tools and select Note, click once to place it, and then type in your desired note. So there I've added a note callout, but you'll notice there that the callout doesn't have any sort of number or label or signifying information. And the reason for that is we have not yet created a note schedule to be paired with the callout. So let's go ahead and create a note schedule, and there's a couple ways to do that in Chief Architect. How this is typically done is by creating a CAD detail. So to do that, go up to the CAD menu at the top, and then down to CAD Detail Management. And here's where you can store all sorts of CAD details that you might use in your plan. And you'll notice here that I've got one called Schedules Detail already started. So I'm going to open it up. And you'll notice here that it's just a blank drawing canvas and all the architectural tools are grayed out. However, you can still use your CAD tools in the CAD detail. So let's go ahead and create a note schedule here. So to do that, go up to your Tools option, down to Schedules. And there's a lot of different automatic schedules. Whenever you add or modify items in your design, these schedules automatically update. So I'm going to choose Note Schedule and then just click once to place it. And there you can see that our note schedule has a number 1 for that callout that we just created. And if you look in the plan, that is now updated. If we go back to the Schedules detail, let's also place a wall schedule at this time. You can see the walls that we currently have in our plan. So these schedules are automatic and they'll continuously update as we keep working on our design without us having to do any sort of extra work. And if you're an existing Chief Architect user, there's a lot of new features added to schedules in the X12 version that you'll want to look at on the website. I'm going to go ahead and close the schedules detail. It just automatically saves, and then continue working on the design. And the next wall that we're going to demo is this wall right here. So I'm just going to select it, drag it back, and then I'm just going to copy the note and place it in that area that the wall previously was. So next we're going to remove this door that's leading from the hall into the bedroom. So to do that, I'm just going to select it and delete it. And then just like with the demo walls, I'm going to go up to our CAD tools, select note, and then just click to place a new note. And click on OK. And there we have that note placed indicating that we removed the door. And you'll notice that as I make these changes in our 2D floor plan view, these changes update live in our 3D view. Another powerful feature of Chief Architect for understanding that there previously was walls and a door in this location is by overlaying our as-built plan underneath our remodel plan. So to do this, we're going to add a reference to that as-built plan we previously had. And to add a reference, go up to this option in the top toolbar that says Change Floor Reference. And then from here you can opt to show a reference, and then you can choose an existing plan. And there we have our as-built and our remodel plan. So I'm just going to choose the as-built and click on Open. And there we can see red lines indicating where our previously walls were. The color and style of these lines are completely flexible, so if you would prefer that they be dashed lines, you can set that up. Additionally, this reference also works in 3D, so if we activate our 3D view, go back to the Change Floor Reference, and then do the same thing in selecting our as-built plan, and click on OK, we can see a glass house view where those doors and walls previously were. So a very powerful feature for communicating the as-built versus the remodel conditions in the plan. I'm going to go ahead and turn off our 3D reference just for the time being, and you can do that by turning off the reference display in the toolbar at the right hand side. And then next, this bathroom currently has carpet, and you'll notice that in our 2D view it has a room label that says bedroom, so we need to change the room type. So to change the room type, select the room, and in the bottom left hand corner there's going to be a lot of different ways you can interact with this room. For now, we're just going to open up this room specification, and here on this dialog you can change a lot of information on how this room should behave. From our room types drop down, I'm going to change it from being a bedroom to being a master bath. And defining a room type is important because the software is smart and will recognize this room as a bathroom and will automatically update other parts of the plan, such as our room flooring material and structural information or schedules based on this room type. On the left hand side, if we go down to the structure panel, here you can set different height information about this room. If I come down to our finished ceiling value, you'll notice that that graphic on the right hand side lights up that value in red. It just makes it easy to recognize where changes you make to this room will take place. And then down below you can set information about your ceiling structure and finish, and then same thing about your floor. If this was a deck, you can change deck framing information. You can change your moldings or outer crown molding if you would like, change the wall coverings, and then other pieces of information about this room. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And you'll notice there in 3D how our flooring material updated, and in our 2D view we now have the correct room label. And so next what we're going to do is add a small water closet over in this area that's currently a master bath, and we'll change that here to be the master closet in a minute. But what we're going to do first is add that water closet by going over to our wall tools, and I'm going to select the straight interior wall, and then I'm just going to click and drag where this interior wall is going to be. And there we've formed another small room, and you'll notice that that wall type has a light blue fill based on our default settings. This just indicates that it's going to be a new wall type, and when we look at our schedules again later, this wall type will automatically be included in it. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete that room label for now. And then next we want to specify the width of this room, and to do that we're going to add a dimension to this room and then adjust the position of this wall. And in Chief Architect there's a lot of automatic and powerful dimension tools to make dimensioning your floor plans and objects in CAD easy, and we'll be using a few of these dimension tools throughout the demonstration. But for now, I'm going to use the interior dimension tool and just click and drag this dimension through this room. And you'll notice there that it's picking up our dimension as a little bit over 3 feet. And if I click on this wall, I can then select the dimension, type in our new dimension, and press enter. And there we've got that wall's position updated. And you'll notice there that the interior dimension is going from our framing layer to framing layer of this room. So next we need to add a door going into the water closet. So to do that, go up to your door tools, and there's several door options underneath the child tool. There's a hinge door, a doorway, sliding doors, pocket doors, and so forth. We're just going to use a standard hinge door and then come and place it right here, and then just click once. And so there you can see in our 3D view how that door got added. And then next, if we wanted to verify that that door was centered, what we can do is select the door, and then in the bottom toolbar there's a tool here called Center Object. And if I click on that, you'll notice that when I hover over various objects, there's a little gray dashed line indicating that I'll be centering that door over that item. So when I click once, we now know that that door is centered in that room. So next we need to add the toilet into the room, and to do that I'm going to open up the library browser, and then you can search through the library browser for items that you want. In this particular case, in the essence of time, I already have an item picked out, and I'm just going to type in the item SKU, and then if I click on it and then right click and select show in browser, just for the purpose of the demonstration I wanted to show you that it was coming from our Kohler manufacturer. And then you can come in and you can see a little preview as to where it's going to place, and then click once, and you can see how that gets updated in our 3D view and in our floor plan view. And then I just want to make sure I have it centered in the room, just like we did with the door. Select that center object tool, and there we verify that that toilet is centered in the room. So next I wanted to review the kitchen and bath cabinetry design features in Chief Architect. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on them because we have a dedicated webinar on kitchen and bath design, but I just wanted to briefly review that there are a lot of powerful features for cabinetry in the program. So to place a cabinet, go up to your cabinet tools, and there's a base cabinet, wall cabinet, full height cabinet, and then other options here. And I'm just going to select the base cabinet and come in and place it. And you'll notice that when I place the base cabinet, it comes in with the cabinet box, the door, the drawer, hardware, and a countertop. What makes a cabinet in Chief Architect a custom or manufacturer's cabinet is by using their content directly from the library browser. So I'm going to come over to the library browser here, and I'm just going to go down to one of our newer manufacturers in Play-Doh, and I'm going to select from one of the lines that they offer. And you'll notice that there's different folders for trim, doors, finishes, and other materials. And from here you just find the door style that you would like to use. You can see that little 3D preview in the library browser as to what that looks like. And then with that door selected, watch what happens to my mouse cursor as I bring it into the plan, and more specifically over the cabinet in the plan. You'll notice there that the icon changes, and when I click on that cabinet, I'll be swapping out the door style with the newly selected door. And then same thing with our drawer, we're just going to select it, come in and swap out that drawer style. Next, if you want to make sure that you're using a material offered by the manufacturer, go to the materials folder, select a material, and when you bring your mouse into the plan, you'll notice there that it's a rolling pin or it'll be a spray can, indicating that you can swap out materials. And I'm going to make sure that I'm swapping out materials on the entire object with our newly selected material. And so there I've got that cabinet updated. There's a lot of things you can do to cabinets in Chief Architect. If we open up the cabinet specification, you can change information about the size of it, the countertop, and automatically include a backsplash. You can make them framed or frameless and adjust the overlay or inset amounts. Change how they're configured on the front, sides, or back faces of the cabinet. Change out your door and drawer styles, add accessories, moldings, and a lot of other customizations. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. And then if you know that this was a cabinet that you would use again in future designs, there's an option down here in your bottom toolbar for add to library, and it's going to add that cabinet to your library, and then in future plans you can just select it and reuse it. Similarly, if you knew that you wanted to use this cabinet for the rest of your design, you can select it, and there's an option down here that says set as default. you'll get a message indicating that your base cabinet defaults have been updated, and then whenever you add a base cabinet into your plan, it'll be based off of this style that we just made. So that's all the work that we're going to do on our cabinets. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to our floor plan. In my user catalog, I have what's called an architectural block of cabinets already made. So I'm going to select it and then just place it into the plan, and then I'm going to rotate it and then move it into position in this alcove. And what an architectural block is it's a group of objects that you've grouped together and can move all at once. So there I've got all that architectural block in position, and then I can unblock it and then just modify the individual objects. And if you ever want to reblock it again, you can hold Control, highlight the objects that you want to block together, and then just block it in your bottom toolbar. So the architectural block feature is a very powerful way for grouping items such as cabinets together to form kitchen island options so that you can quickly add them to the design and help sell the job to your clients. So next we're going to quickly add a master shower, and let's pull up our 3D view so that we can see these changes as we make them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to our wall tools, and there's an option here for straight glass pony wall, a great wall type for creating showers. And in our 3D view you can see how that gets added. It has a glass upper half and then a tiled lower half with a wall cap. And then similarly we can open up this room type, and then let's opt to not show the room label, and then you'll notice that the room currently has a molding inside there, so let's go ahead and get rid of that for a shower. I'm just going to select on delete and click on OK. And then next we need to dimension this room. So just like with the water closet, I'm going to select our interior dimension tool and then click and drag 2 dimensions through the room. And then to dimension the room, select the wall, select the dimension, and then type in your new desired dimension. And you can either type in inches there, or you can type in more formal nomenclature. And then same thing with this wall at the top. And then just like with the vanity, I have our shower objects already saved as an architectural block. So I'm going to place it off to the side for the time being. And then I'm going to come into our plan. And one feature in Chief Architect that really helps with precision movements is our point-to-point move feature. And how this works is you select the object, in this case the architectural block, and then in the bottom toolbar there's a feature called point-to-point move. So then you select a point on the object, in this case the corner. And if you're an existing Chief Architect user, you'll notice that this tool has been updated to give you better feedback as you're using it. And then you just select the point that you want to move it to, in this case the corner. And there we know that that architectural block of our shower objects is exactly placed in the corner, and then I'm just going to unblock it, and from here you can modify the individual items as you would like to. So next I'm going to add a glass shower door for our shower. So to do that, go up to your door tools, and then there's an option for shower door, and then I'm just going to come in here and click once to place it, and then I'm going to opt to bump it up against the wall. And then you'll notice that there's a little swing handle here. You can change how that displays in your floor plan preview. And if we open up this door specification, you can change information about this door type. If you want to change it from a shower door to a different door type, you can. You can change the width and height and the thickness here. On the left hand side there's various other options you can choose from. And since this is a shower door, we're going to want this to swing both directions. And you'll notice that the program automatically has tempered glass selected for the shower door. And then if this was a standard door, you can change out things like your casing profile and your lintel and lights and jamb and so forth. This is just a shower door, so I'm going to leave it how it is and click on OK. And then let's go ahead and close our library browser. And one check you might do to make sure that you have enough clearance for this full height cabinet door and the shower door is by displaying them both open in our floor plan view. So we can stretch that shower door over, and then if we select on that full height cabinet, there's an option in the bottom toolbar to show cabinet doors. So we're just going to click on that and it'll show that cabinet door open, and there we have it. We know we have enough space for both of those doors. I'm going to go ahead and undo those changes that we just made. And the last part of this bathroom that I want to look at is creating an electrical plan. I'm going to go ahead and close our 3D view. And then you'll notice that the space for this bathroom is starting to become a little bit cluttered. We have notes, we have a reference for where demo walls are, we have dimensions and objects, and it can be a little bit much on the eye. And you might want to clean up this view specifically for working with electrical objects. Up in the toolbar that you'll see this option for working plan view. And plan views in Chief Architect are an efficiency feature for helping organizing your plan and creating construction documents. If we select from this drop down, there's various views already included with the program, and you can create more plan views as you go along. But for now, we're just going to switch to our electrical plan view, which is going to turn off some of these items that aren't related to electrical. I'm going to say yes, we want to save those settings. And you can see that our floor plan view is cleaned up quite a bit here. So next, to add outlets into the plan, you can go up to your electrical tools, and there's tools for outlets, lights, ropes, and switches. And I'm going to start by using our auto place outlets feature, and then I'm just going to come into plan and click in this room, and it's automatically going to place a GFCI outlet there. And then if you wanted to manually place more outlets, you can just come up here, select the outlet, and then just come in and click once where you want to place it in the plan. And because this room is a master bathroom, the program's smart and automatically makes that outlet a GFCI outlet. And then to add can lights, go back to your electrical tools, and you'll see that there's an option here for light. And then you can just come and click once to place the light in your plan. You'll notice there that when I placed that light, it wasn't really evenly centered on the doors or the short hallway right here. So let's go ahead and center that up. So I can do that by selecting the light. And then down the bottom toolbar, there's that center object tool. And one great feature added to X12 is a point-to-point center tool. So I'm going to select that sub-edit tool. And then next I can select the first point that I want to center it on, in this case the door. And then I'm going to select the second point that I want to center it on. And then it gives me a list of available options. And I'm just going to click on the one I would like to center it on. And there we know that that can light is perfectly centered between those doors. So next I know that I want some copies of this can light evenly spaced along this way. So with that light selected, in our bottom toolbar we have a feature called multiple copy. And when I select it, you can select the sub-edit tool and then determine how you would like to place copies of this object. So you can tell the program you would like to place copies a specified distance, in this case 24 inches, as you're dragging your mouse. Or you can tell the program you would like to place a predetermined amount of objects and drag your mouse, and the program will evenly space them apart. So I'm going to tell the program that we're going to place 2 more copies of this light, and then I'm going to tell the program that we want a secondary behavior, so that we'll create 2 more copies this way, and then a copy of that row right next to it. So I'm going to press on OK, and then as I bring my mouse over that can light, watch what happens to the cursor. The software is giving us feedback indicating that we're going to be making a change, and if I right click, I can pull out those 2 copies, and then when I release, I can place that 1 additional copy, and there we have those can lights evenly spaced. So you probably wouldn't have a recessed can light over our shower or maybe our tub, so let's go ahead and delete those options. And if we open up the library browser, there's an option that I've already got saved in my user catalog for a recessed vapor light. And then from here you can just come in and place them over those specific objects. So next we need to add switches and connect those electrical items. So to do that, I'm going to go up to our electrical tools again, select switch, come in and place it on this wall. And then to indicate that we're connecting the switch with this light, go back up to your electrical tools, connect electrical, and then just connect the 2 together. And then you could continue connecting them in the room. So very easy to place electrical objects in Chief Architect. So that's going to be all the work that we do on this side of the plan and with our electrical. Next we're going to work on kind of the left-hand side of our plan and add in the addition over in this area. So let's zoom out of this bathroom area and focus our attention over on this area of the plan where we'll be working on the addition. And since we're going to be doing some general design work, let's switch back over to our working plan view. And then to draw in our addition, we're going to go over to our wall tools and we're going to select our straight pony wall. And then we're going to click and drag our straight pony wall. And you can see that temporary dimension appears as I'm dragging the wall. We use that just as a guide for getting your objects in place in Chief Architect. And when I release, you can see that that wall is that new blue fill color that we made earlier. And then I'm just going to continue drawing in the rest of these walls. And then down here, what I want to do is make sure that we have our framing layer of our new walls and our existing walls lined up with each other. So I'm just going to select the wall and then move it into place. And there we have those walls nicely lined up with each other. And then to dimension the addition, we have a feature called Auto Exterior Dimensions, which will place dimensions automatically going around your floor plan. And we need to turn on that layer to see them. So there we have those dimensions, and then to move your walls into a very precise location, select the wall and then select the corresponding dimension and type in your desired value and press enter, and then that wall is going to automatically update. Similarly, we're going to take that same approach with this front wall by selecting the wall, select the dimension that we want to change, and then just type in our new desired value, and there we have that addition in place. If we take a look at a perspective floor overview, you can see that we still need to address that wall that was previously there, and we'll come back to this in a minute. But next I want to add some windows into the front of our plan. So to do that, I'm going to go up to our window tool, and there's a few different options available, and I'm just going to use the standard window and come in and click once to place it into the wall. And then you can see that it automatically comes in with a casing, and if we double click on it, there's a lot of different ways you can modify this window. So for example, if you wanted to modify the height, you can just type in a new value there. If you wanted to change your floor to top or floor to bottom values, you can do so. There's different options you can adjust on it. You can change the casing, the lintel, the sill. And you might be noticing that these panels look very similar to the door specification panels. And that's one of the nice things about Chief Architect is oftentimes you learn how a tool or feature works in one part of the plan, and those same concepts apply throughout the program. I'm going to go ahead and press on OK on this window. And if we take a look on our floor plan, you can see that my dimensions have updated to include that window. If you want to be very precise with where this window is located relative to the framing, you can select the window, select the corresponding dimension, and just type in your new value and press enter. And that window's position is going to update. Next, if we did a lot of design work on this window and we knew we wanted more copies of it throughout the plan, you can just select this copy option and then paste it, and then you can move it around in your walls and redimension it as you need to. And you can also move it so that it's bumping up against that existing window, and then mold them together as a single unit by holding Control. And then in the bottom toolbar, there's an option for Make Mold Unit. So now those windows behave as a single mold unit. So very easy to do that in Chief Architect software. Next, I know I want a copy of this mold unit 2 feet from the other side. And you could copy it, move it around, dimension it, but we have a better efficiency feature for doing that in Chief Architect. I'm going to select the copy object, and then under the sub-edit tools there's an option that pops up that's called Reflect About Object, and then we get that same gray dashed line that we learned about with the Center Object tool, and we're going to mirror a copy of that mold unit about that gray dashed line. So there we have a copy over on that side. Next, you may want copies of windows over in this wall along here, so I'm going to press copy, paste it into the wall, and then from here type in how far you would like it from the corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and create one more copy, paste it into the wall, bump it up against those windows, and then I'm going to unmold all these windows. And then next I want to select those 4 windows along this side and make them one big mold unit. And you can hold Control and select all those windows and then mold them. Another way you can quickly select all those windows is by selecting the window tool and then holding Shift on your keyboard and marking over that area. And there we have 4 windows selected. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner. So multiple ways to select all those windows in Chief Architect. And that Shift Select works with a lot of different tools in the program. So if you want to select all your cabinets or all your walls and make global changes to them all at once, that's an easy way to do that. I'm going to go ahead and mold those together. And then next let's pull our 3D view side by side with our floor plan view. And you can see that those windows are starting to look pretty good. And you'll notice that we have this existing wall that we'll need to deal with, and we'll come back and deal with it here in a little bit. But next you'll notice that we need a foundation underneath of here. So using our change floor options in the toolbar, I'm going to go down 1 floor in both our 3D and in our floor plan view. So there we can see the foundation that we have, and we know that we need a foundation in this area in both of our views. And if you want to see the walls on the first floor, you can turn on a reference of that first floor. So to do that, go back to your Change Floor Reference option, and you can see that we're currently referencing the as-built plan, but we can change this to reference our remodel plan. And with the floor level set to automatic or the first floor, we'll be able to see where those walls are at on the first floor. And then to draw in new foundation walls, go up to your foundation wall tool, select straight foundation wall, and then click and drag where you want these new foundation walls to be located. And you'll notice that those foundation walls I'm drawing are a little bit off, and we'll come back and clean that up here in a second. To get started, I want to make sure that this foundation wall is running off of our existing foundation wall. So I'm just going to make sure that they're in position. And then I'm going to select this wall, and using the arrows on my keyboard, I'm just going to nudge it down into place. And when I get that wall really close to being aligned with the walls on the first floor, there's an option in the bottom toolbar called Align with Wall Above, and that's just going to automatically align it appropriately with the wall on the floor above. So I'm going to do that for these walls as well. And then this wall should be in place because it's coming off of this one. And then that's going to be all the work that we need to do on our foundation. So next I'm going to turn off our reference floor display for the time being. We'll come back and use it again a little bit later. And next let's go back up to the first floor in both our floor plan and in our 3D view. And next we need to address this wall that was currently existing. If you look at a photo of our completed design, you can see that we're going to have a second floor over the plan, and the wall is currently supporting our attic wall on our roof. So we know that we can't demo it completely, but we'll be making some modifications to it to support our roof system, our second floor, and provide access to our new living space. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this wall, and in the bottom left hand corner I'm going to open up its specification, and what we're going to do is we're going to change the wall type from, instead of being a pony wall, we're just going to change it to be an interior 6 wall, since we know this is made with 2x6s. So I'm going to uncheck pony wall. It's going to get rid of the pony wall, and then we're going to change the wall type to be a wall type I already have created called interior 6 reframed, and you can see that it has a light blue fill color. And then the last thing we need to do is remove the wall cap. So I'm going to come over to this option, select it, and just delete it. And there, that wall is starting to shape up, so I'm going to go ahead and press on OK. So there you can see how we've removed the siding and stone from the wall, and we instead have drywall. We still need to clean it up a little bit. First, you'll notice that there's a corner board over here. We can just select that and delete it. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing over on this side. And you'll notice that we're getting some cuts into these walls where our roof are, because we're using the dollhouse view. And we'll be making some modifications to our roof here in a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is, instead of having these be windows, we're going to have these be doorways. And if we select on the window, you can see that the window is 5 feet wide, and it's 4 feet 3 inches from this wall. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to make a mental note of that information and go ahead and delete that window. And then what we're going to do is go up to our door tools, and we're going to select a doorway, and we're just going to come in and click once to add it. And you can see how that comes in our 3D view. And then what we're going to do is first adjust the width of it to be 5 feet. So with that door selected, I'm going to select one of these handles on the end where you can resize it. And I'm just going to change it to 5 feet. You could also just click on that temporary dimension and type in your value. And then next we need to make sure that's 4 feet 3.5 inches from this wall on the other side. So I'm going to select it, type in our desired value, and press enter. So there we know that the doorway is in the same position as the window to retain most of the framing. And then because we're going to be supporting the roof in a second floor, we're going to need to change the header over this door. Super easy to do in Chief Architect. With that doorway selected, go down to the open specification option, and then down here on the left hand side you'll see an option that says framing, and here you can change the type of framing for the header for this door. So we're going to change it to be a glulam beam, and then we're going to change the thickness to be 5.5 inches thick. And then if you want to change the count of it, you can. And then we're going to change the depth of it to be 19 inches. And then if you wanted to change trimmers, let's go ahead and add another trimmer, or the rough openings, or any other framing information, you can make that change. But that's looking good for this glulam beam, so I'm going to press on OK. And you're not going to see anything take effect yet with that glulam beam, but let's go ahead and delete this window. And then we're going to once again make a copy and reflect this about because those windows were symmetrically placed in the wall. So with that, we have both of our doorways added, replacing the windows and providing access to the addition. So next, let's take a look at the framing for just this wall and how those glulam beams look. I'm going to go ahead and make our floor plan view our main screen for now. And to see the framing just for this wall, you can select it. And then in the bottom toolbar, there's an option for build framing for selected object. And that's going to ask us if we want to display our framing headers in our floor plan view. And I'm going to go ahead and say no for this. Our floor plan view will get quite busy with information if we choose to display it. And I'm not going to display my wall studs either. And we'll take a look at how that framing looks in a floor plan view here in a little bit. But we know that we just built our framing for this wall. And if we want to see a wall detail, there's a button down here that says Open Wall Detail. And there we can see a wall detail of that framing, and you'll notice those glulam framing members above the doorways. Additionally, these items are completely customizable, so you can select them, and if you wanted to change the size of them, you can. Let's go ahead and undo that. If you wanted to copy and add more studs or move them around or anything, you can do that too. So lots of flexibility when it comes to framing these walls. I'm going to go ahead and undo that and just close out of this framing detail for now. We'll take a look at how we can recall that piece of information later when we create our construction documents. And then next, let's go ahead and add that second story bonus room on top of our plan. So to build the second story, you go up to your build option and then down to floor and then build new floor. And then from here you can specify whether you want to derive a new floor based on your first floor plan, so that'll follow all your exterior walls, or build a blank new floor for the second floor. I'm going to choose to build a blank new floor for the second floor, and then we'll manually add in our walls just in this area of the plan. So I'm going to press on OK. Next, you can tell the program information about the floor, such as how high you want your ceilings to be, or if you want moldings. I'm going to go ahead and accept these how they are and press OK. And there we have a blank drawing canvas, and you'll notice a few walls in our plan, and that's because these are existing attic walls supporting our existing roof structure. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a reference so that we can see what's going on in the first floor. And with that, we know we need to add a second floor bonus room over in this area. And to do that, I'm just going to go up to our wall tools and select straight exterior wall, and then just click and drag our exterior walls over our first floor walls, and we'll come back and clean this up here in a second. So I'm going to make sure I bump it into position and then bump it into position. And just like with the foundation, you can use that align with floor below tool to make sure that the framing's aligned. And then let's go ahead and close our dollhouse view. And let's take a perspective full overview of the design, which is going to include our roof and ceilings. You'll notice that the roof planes from the as-built portion of the house are interfering with the addition on the second floor, so we will need to make some modifications to the existing roof planes. Let's take a look at how the roof features work in Chief Architect and add a roof over this portion of the design. So to build your roof, you go up to Build, Roof, and there's several different options here, and we're going to start off using the Build Roof dialog to do the vast majority of the work. And we're going to check this option here for auto rebuild roofs so that whenever we make a change to the design, the roofs just automatically rebuild. Here you can also change the pitch, you can change information about your overhangs, you can raise and lower your roof. There's other options about your eaves and break lines that you can change. Information about the structure in regards to the layers and how it should frame. And then other customization options for rafter tails, the cap, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and press on OK. And when we do that, the program's going to automatically put a roof over our addition portion of the design. And by default, it's set to be a hip roof. And you can tell the program how you would like the roof to build over individual walls. For example, if I select this wall, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's an option for Open Object. And when I come down to the roof panel here, there's different automatic roof styles the program can create. I'm going to select this Dutch gable wall option, and the program's automatically going to build a Dutch gable roof over this wall. So I'm going to press OK. So you can see how that roof type was built. Additionally, if you select that wall again and open it up and go back to the roof panel, we can make this a full gable wall if we wanted to. So very easy to build a lot of common roof styles. If we swing around our view to the back side and select this roof, there's a tool down here for gable wall, just a little shortcut to quickly create the gable walls. Additionally, if you wanted to change how the pitch builds over individual walls, such as this wall on the right and this wall on the left, we can select these walls. And let's go back to our floor plan real quick here. And we're going to switch from using our working plan view to our roof plan view. Remember, plan views are an efficiency feature in Chief Architect to help organize your plan and create your construction documents. So there we can see how those roof plans are building, and we're going to change the pitch of how the roof is building over this wall on the right and the wall on the left. So I'm going to select them both holding Control and then open them up. And then I'm going to go to this option for roof again. And then here you can change the pitch. So let's change it to be a 12 and 12 pitch. And then if you wanted to change the overhang lengths of these two individual roof planes or have an automatic roof return, you can opt to include those. But for now, I'm just going to press on OK. And you can see in our 3D view there how the program increases the pitch of our roof. You might recall from the photo of the final design that there's going to be a decorative door with a decorative gate over in the front, and then in the back we're just going to have a window. So let's go ahead and add those objects. And I already have those just saved off in my user catalog, so I'm just going to grab them from there. Place the decorative doors, and then same thing with the gate. And then for the back side, we're just going to add a window. And so I'm going to go up to the window tools, just select our window. And when I come into the center of the wall, you'll notice that I get a little red triangle there indicating I've hit the center of the wall. So I'm just going to click and place it, and there we've added that window. So let's go ahead and close our library browser. And then a new feature added to Chief Architect X12 is the ability to temporarily hide your exterior walls while you're rotating in 3D. And to access this feature, go up to the 3D menu at the top, and then go down to Camera View Options, and then select Hide Camera Facing Exterior Walls. And so now when you rotate in 3D, you'll just temporarily be hiding those exterior facing walls. So just a nice feature to quickly peek inside rooms as you're rotating and see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and turn that feature off. I just wanted to show you that it was there in case you ever need to use it. We can turn it off by going up to our toolbar and then just unselecting it. So next we know our bonus room is going to have a sloped ceiling. So let's look at some of the ceiling design tools in Chief Architect. I'm going to go ahead and close this 3D view. And I'm going to go ahead and take a full camera view, which will be like a first person point of view inside of our design. And I'm going to pull our 3D view and our floor plan view side by side so that we can work at them at the same time. And I'm going to temporarily switch back to our working plan view since we're going to be working on the ceiling. And one great new feature added to Chief Architect X12 is the ability to automatically create tray ceilings. And there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to opt to just select in the room. And then in the bottom toolbar, there's an option down here that says Make Tray Ceiling in Room. And when you click that, it's going to open up a dialog with options on how you want to build it. By default, it's going to build it 24 inches wide and 12 inches deep. And then it's currently going to have a vertical pitch. Let's go ahead and click OK. And you can see in our 3D view how the program just automatically built that going around our room. And then our floor plan view, you can see that with that pink dashed line. And we can select that in our floor plan view, and we can open it up and then make any of the modifications that you would like. Let's go ahead and uncheck the vertical option, and let's display our pitch in degrees and have it be a sloped pitch, and click on OK. And there you can see the program sloped that tray ceiling that we created. So very powerful feature available in Chief Architect X12, and you can use this feature to create all sorts of ceiling designs. Here's an example of kind of a cross pattern. You can add moldings and rope lights inside of these tray ceilings, and you can also curve these tray ceilings and even recess them one inside another. I'm going to go ahead and close our picture. Another ceiling design option that's really easy to do in Chief Architect is just vaulting the ceiling. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and delete that tray ceiling. And then to vault the ceiling in this room, we have to open up the room specification. And then if we go to the structure panel, There's an option here for flat ceiling over this room, and when you uncheck it, the ceiling's just going to follow the slope of the roof planes. So with that, I'm going to click on OK, and you can see how that vaulted our ceiling there. Then I want this bonus room to be more of a traditional bonus room with a shorter wall, and then the sloped ceiling coming up, and then a small flat section, and then going back to sloped again. So what we need to do is we need to decrease the height at which our roof is building by decreasing the room height. So to do this, select in the room, and then open up its specification. And then if we go to the structure panel, I'm going to change the room's finished ceiling value to be 30 inches and click on OK. And so there you can see how our walls are building shorter, and we've dropped our ceiling and roof quite a bit. You'll notice on the right hand side there that our existing roof structure is butting into this room, and we'll clean this up here in a little bit. And so next we have a couple more of ceiling design options available for this bonus room. You could have the bonus room just vault how it is and go to a peak, or you could have it coming up and then be a flat ceiling again. And if you choose to do the latter option, what we need to do is turn off our auto rebuild roof generation and then reset that ceiling height so that instead of the ceiling building about there at 30 inches, it's going to build up here instead. So to turn off our auto rebuild roof behavior, go up to build, roof, and then build roof. And then we're going to uncheck auto rebuild roof. So now whenever we make changes in our plan, our roof will ignore it and our roof will just stay the same. And then to get our ceiling building up there again, we need to uncheck that flat ceiling over this room option and reset the ceiling height value. So to do that, I'm going to select in the room again, open up the room specification dialog, go to the structure panel, and then I'm going to check this wrench icon, which will reset it to the default ceiling height value. And then I'm going to check this option for flat ceiling over this room so that it builds a flat ceiling at that 95-inch height, and click on OK. And then that's going to complete getting our ceiling back in the room. And then we just need to clean up this area over here. If we go back to our floor plan view and switch from our working plan view to our roof plan view, you can see that this roof plane on the right is jetting into this room because of the roof on the outside over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just select this roof plane and then just drag it back, and then that's going to clean up this side of the room. A few other modifications we need to make to our roof system. If you look at a photo of the as-built structure, you'll recall that our roof system ended about here with an 18-inch overhang. And then when we added our addition, we have to remove some of that overhang, and then we're actually extending this roof plane over. And then there's the roof that we just built. So we need to make a few modifications right in this area of the plan. So I'm going to close this 3D view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a perspective full overview. And here's the area of the plan that we're going to need to modify. And if you click on this roof, you can see how it's one giant roof plane extending over. And there's a couple ways you can address this situation. If we go and pull this side by side with our floor plan view, and then we go down a floor, you can see that roof plane that's coming over. And you can select these roof planes and then just manually drag them over so that we have our as-built roof plane in one area of the plan. And you can see how that opens up a hole over here. And then what we can do is just manually draw in another roof plane. So to do that, I'm going to go up to our roof tools, and there's an option here just for roof plane. And I'm just going to come in here and just drag it over and then drag it up over here. And you can see how I'm starting to fill that gap in our 3D view. And then I'm just going to make sure I have it connected at the peak. And then I'm going to drag this corner up. And there we're going to have the first roof plane in place. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side here. And then since we know these roof planes are symmetrical, we can just select this one, copy, reflect it about itself. And then if we take a look on the other side of our roof in our 3D view, you can see that everything is looking good with our roof. And then from here, in the essence of time, what you could do is just add notes like we were earlier to indicate that you're going to have to do some demo work and rebuild the roof over in this area of the plan. So next we need to add some stairs into our design to connect our first floor to our second floor. And I'm going to close our perspective full overview. And then I'm going to switch back to our working plan view. And then I'm going to turn off our reference floor display. And then next, to add stairs, let's go up to our stair tools. And there's several different stair tools, and I'm going to be using the L-shaped stair. And then next we're going to get a dialog asking information about how we would like to place it in regards to the direction, if we would like to have winders included in there, and if we were using the U-shaped stair tool, how big the gap should be between the two stair sections. I'm going to go ahead and accept these for how they are and press OK. And you can see a little preview of it as I move my mouse before I place it. And as I bring my mouse between these walls, you'll notice that that up arrow changes direction based on the side that I have it pointed on. And then I'm just going to click once to place it. And then pressing spacebar, let's take a 3D view by going up to our camera tools and using the full camera. And then just click and point the camera at the stairs. And there we can see how those stairs are starting to come in. And then next, let's pull our 3D view side by side with our floor plan view. And then next we can clearly see that we need to draw some walls underneath these stairs. And one trick that I like to use when drawing walls is making the stairs transparent in your floor plan view so that you can see where you're drawing in those walls underneath the stairs. And so to do that, hold Control and then select these 3 stair sections, including the landing. Open them up. And then go down to the fill style option, and then down here you can opt to make it transparent. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the transparency to 65% and click on OK. And then next, to draw walls underneath the stairs, go up to your stair tools, select the straight interior wall, and then just click and drag to add the wall. And you can see where that's coming in our floor plan view since we made those stairs transparent, and then just drag it in. And you can see in our 3D view that this software is smart enough to recognize that we're drawing the walls underneath the stairs and it's cutting them underneath the stair. And then just continue drawing the wall down this way. And then we need to make a few modifications underneath it to get it snug underneath the stair. So I'm just going to select the wall in the floor plan view, and using my arrows on the keyboard, I'm just going to nudge it into position. And then same thing with this wall. And then next, it looks like we have an opportunity to have a small closet underneath of these stairs. So from here you can go up to your door tools, and then I'm just going to select a hinge door and then just come in and place it. And then in your floor plan view, select the door and then change it so it's swinging outwards. And then just to make sure it's centered on the room, select the center object tool and then make sure you have it centered. And so that's going to complete the work we're going to do on the stairs on the first floor. But if we go up to the second floor in our 3D view, you can see that the stairs are merging through the floor platform and we need a stairwell. This is super easy in Chief Architect. Simply select the stair, and then down in the bottom toolbar there's an option for auto stairwell, and the program's automatically going to cut an opening and put railings on the floor above. And then from here you can adjust these railings. So let's go up to the second floor, and from here you can click on these railings and move them around and dimension them as needed. And we can actually take a backlit cross-section view to make sure that we're meeting any sort of code requirements. So to do that, go up to your camera tools, and I'm going to be using the back-clipped cross-section camera. And then I'm just going to click and drag a small clip through the stair section. And then I'm just going to close our full camera for the time being. And then zooming in here, what we're first going to do is draw a line from the top tread down to the bottom representing our slope. And to do this, I'm going to go up to our CAD tools, select just our CAD line, and then just click and drag it down. And now here we want to make sure that we're meeting any sort of code requirements in regards to headspace, and we might have an opportunity to move this rail over, providing more living space on the second floor. There's a couple ways you can check for this in Chief Architect, and I'm going to check for this using a combination of our CAD tools and our dimensioning tools. So to get started, what I'm going to do is I'm just using my CAD line still. At the point of this drywall, I'm just going to drag a CAD line out, and not being too specific about the dimension of it at this time being. So that's representing where the bottom of that ceiling plane is, and then next, using a CAD line, I'm going to come off of that CAD line for the ceiling plane, and pressing Tab, I'm then going to type in that I want this line to be 80 inches, and click on OK. And then from here I'm going to select this CAD line, and I'm just going to move it over until it's about coming against that line for our slope. So you can see that it meets our slope roughly right there, and I'm just going to come down to this tread right here just for simplicity's sake. And then next we are going to move this CAD line back. And now we know that we can move the landing, the distance from where this CAD line meets the drywall to the other CAD line to increase the living space on the floor above and still meet our headroom requirement. So next we just need to check how long this CAD line is. And so with this CAD line selected, I'm going to open it up, go to selected line, and then you can see that's 32 inches there. So we know that we can move our landing on the second floor 32 inches this way. So I'm going to go back to our floor plan view, and then I'm just going to select that landing, and I'm going to start moving it. And as I'm moving it, I'm going to press tab, and then I'm just going to type in 32 inches. And pressing that tab is a great efficiency feature to precisely move objects. And click on OK. And then if we come back to our elevation, you can see that our landing is moved into place. And then next I'm going to go ahead and delete this CAD line. And then I'm going to draw a dimension going from that point of the ceiling surface down to the slope, representing that we're meeting any sort of headspace requirements. So I'm going to go up to our manual dimension tools, and in this case we're going to use our point-to-point dimension, which allows us to just pick 2 points and have a dimension displaying between them. So I'm going to come from that point on our ceiling surface down to that CAD line, and then if you want to zoom in to verify that you're marking those 2 points correctly, you can. And that CAD line looks good, and that's going to complete how we can measure out, making sure that we're meeting our headspace requirement and maximizing our living space on the second floor. And we can also add in CAD details, and you can store your CAD details in this CAD detail management area of the software. You can also store them in your user catalog like I have right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and place a stair detail. And CAD details like this are fully customizable in Chief Architect, and there's over 500 CAD details with the program available for you to use. And you can import your own library of CAD details from third-party programs, or just create them from scratch in Chief Architect. So that's going to complete this stair detail. I'm going to go ahead and save this view by going up to our Save Camera options. I'm going to press Save Active View and then go ahead and close it. And if you're a previous Chief Architect user, that button that was up here to save your views has moved over into a drop-down toggle. And then I'm just going to close that view. And we can always pull up that view again if we wanted to by double-clicking on that elevation. If we go down to the first floor and select one of these stair sections and open up its specifications, there's a lot of ways you can customize these stairs. You can change information about the length or width, and using the advanced options, you can control the depth and the treads. You can change information about the style, the treads, runners, winders, the stringer, and if you're an existing Chief Architect user, a new option added to X12 is more advanced control for your stringers. You can add a brake line, change your railings, newels, rails, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. And then next let's work on our framing for the plan. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and then I'm going to switch from our working plan view over to our framing floor plan view. And earlier we had framed this wall, and you can see that framing displayed here. And you can select these individual studs if you would like to in your floor plan view and copy them and move them around. If you come over here, you can see we have a label for that glue lam that we've added. And if you select in that area and then press tab, it's going to select that glue lam. If we want to frame only the walls that we've added into our addition and remodeled room over here, we can select those walls. And then once again, press that frame for selected objects button. And so let's do that for our addition as well. And I'm going to select our wall tool and then hold shift and then select all of these walls just to make sure we get the walls underneath the stairs. And then hold control and select this one and then press the framing button. If we go up to our 3D camera options, there's an option here for perspective framing overview, and this is going to be a 3D view that just isolates our framing. And let's go ahead and pull this side by side with our floor plan view. And then next you can see that we need to add floor joists in here. In Chief Architect X12, you now have the ability to frame your floor framing on a room by room basis automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and you can see where those joists get added into our 3D view here. And then if you come in our floor plan view, those floor joists are between the foundation and the first floor, so they're going to display on the foundation level. And you can see where those are. And just like with the wall studs, you can select them and modify them if you need to. If we go back up one floor, let's next build the framing for our second floor. So in our floor plan view, I'm going to go up to that second floor, and then holding the wall tool and shift, I'm going to select all those walls and then frame them. And then I'm also going to frame the floor platform as well. And then the next thing we need to do is frame the attic walls. So let's go up to the attic level, select those walls, and I'm just going to frame these ones. And then next we need to frame the roof. And so to frame the roof, I'm going to switch from our framing floor plan view to our framing roof plan view. And then I'm going to go down one floor to our second floor. And then in the essence of time, I'm just going to stick frame this roof with rafters. So I'm going to hold Control to select both roof planes, and then select the Build Framing for Selected Object button. And that roof framing will get added. And if we come up to Build, and then Framing, there's an option for roof trusses that you can drag across and use. And speaking of manual framing tools, there's a lot of different options in the software. There's a general framing member, and you might use this over in this area of the plan where we had our glass shower walls with the lower half being framed. You might need to show how that's tying into the existing wall framing, so you could add framing using that tool. Additionally, there's an option for posts and then rafters and beams and trusses and joists. So lots of flexibility when it comes to the manual framing tools in Chief Architect. So next, let's talk about the materials list features in Chief Architect. In Chief Architect, you can add pricing and materials list information to objects like walls and doors and windows and framing. So with these two glue lamps selected, I'm going to open them up, and then I'm going to go down to the components panel. And here you can add any sort of information like your supplier or manufacturer or code, and this information will get relayed over to the materials list. You can opt to display this as linear length or a cut list for framing. And so let's go ahead and add a price. Let's say they're $150 each, and click on OK. And then next we can build a materials list a couple of different ways in the program. If you want to build it on a room by room basis, you can select in the room. For example, maybe we would want a materials list of our bathroom. And then down the bottom toolbar, there's an option for calculate materials in room. When you click on that, it's going to build a materials list just for that room that you had selected. There's also other ways to create materials lists in Chief Architect. If we go up to Tools and the Materials List, you can calculate materials for the entire plan on a room by room basis like we just did, from a specific area or from a polyline. So let's go ahead and create a materials list based on a polyline. And I'm just going to select and highlight this area over here that we added. And then if you click on the polyline, there's an option in the bottom left hand corner to open the specification. There's new features added to Chief Architect for refining the materials list polyline in X12. And then I'm going to select on this option for calculate materials in polyline. And then this is going to pull up that same looking materials list. And then in the top left hand corner, you can opt to display things based on linear length, a cut list, or a buy list. So if we select the buy list option, and then if you take a look at our glue lamp beams, you can see that the program's performing a material calculation. And when it comes to the materials list feature, the software has more advanced functionality for specifying lumber lengths for purchasing or saving pricing for using in future plans, and more information about those features is available on the website. So let's go ahead and close out of this materials list, and let's switch back to our working plan view. And next, let's take a look at the 3D rendering features of the software. So let's go ahead and get into a perspective full overview. And we've been using the standard rendering technique throughout this demonstration, but there's other rendering techniques in Chief Architect that just add different levels of detail to the plan. If we come up to this drop down in the top toolbar, there's an option for a vector view. There's an option for a glass house, and this is kind of a neat view because it allows you to see through walls and see what's going on the other side. There's an option for a dual tone, a technical illustration. A lot of people like the watercolor technique because it just adds a different level of detail to the plan. And then the software also has a feature called ray tracing, which is the highest quality of 3D rendering in the software. And that's going to produce a photorealistic image, and we don't have time to produce a ray trace in this demonstration. But if you take a look at a picture of a ray trace, you can see that there's a lot higher level of detail. You can see reflections off of your stainless steel throughout the program. There's reflections coming off of this water and in the glass, and overall it just looks a lot better. And then here's an exterior ray trace of another sample plan available on the website, and you'll notice the higher level of detail throughout this ray trace. Let's go ahead and close these two ray traces. And then next, as we conclude, let's create a layout sheet for construction documents. So to create a layout sheet, go up to File and then New Layout. And I already have a layout sheet started for this demonstration, so I'm just going to open that file now. And here on the layout sheet, you can put information about your company and your logo and the plan that you're going to be working on and any sort of details you would like. There's text tools, so you can add text and other CAD information. If you have pre-saved notes, you can add those from your library browser or your CAD detail management. So lots of flexibility when it comes to creating these layout sheets. So let's go ahead and send some pieces of information over the layout sheet. And you'll notice this first page is a cover page. We'll come back to this here in a little bit. But our next page is going to be a floor plan. So let's go ahead and send over a floor plan. So I'm going to go back to the plan view. And instead of using our working plan view, which we're just using for general design work, I'm going to send over a plan view called Floor Plan View Dimensioned. So to send that over to the layout sheet, go up to File, and then Send to Layout, or you can press this button in the toolbar to send it to the layout. And then here you can choose a layout. And for those existing Chief Architect users or users on an older version, in X12 you can have two layout files open at the same time. And then down below you can specify the scale that you would like to send it as. Let's go ahead and accept that for it is and press on OK. And then once you've sent that view over, you can select it and then just move it into position where you would like it on your layout sheet. And then next, let's send over that wall schedule that we made earlier. So I'm going to go back to our floor plan view, go up to CAD, and then CAD detail management. And we had that scheduled detail that we had saved earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And then I'm going to send it to the layout the same way by just clicking Send to Layout. And since this is just text and not really necessary to have a specific scale, I'm going to change the scale to make it a little bit larger. And then from here you can just select it and then move it in position where you would like it on your layout sheet. And that's looking good for this page. So let's go to the next page. And here we have an elevation which we haven't created yet. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go back to the floor plan view. And then to create an elevation, go up to your camera tools and then just select this one called cross section elevation and click and point the camera where you would like to take an elevation. And so here you could just send this to the layout sheet, and you can also add dimension and text to this elevation. And in Chief Architect we have a great efficiency feature for quickly getting those dimensions on. So I'm going to go up to the dimension tools, and there's an automatic tool called Auto Story Pull Dimensions. And then when you click it once, it's going to place those dimensions, and these are completely customizable. So if you want them to pick up different points in your plan, you can do that. But I'm happy with how this looks, so I'm going to go ahead and send it to the layout. And then there's different options for sending views like elevations and 3D views to your layout. And I'm going to specify that it's going to be using plot lines with the color fill, and click on OK. So there we have the elevation on the layout sheet, and then using the text tools you can notate what this view is and where it matches up with the call out in the floor plan. And I already have some simple text added off to the side that I'm just going to pull in. So there, that's looking pretty good. So let's take a look at what our next sheet is. This one is going to be a framing view. So let's go back to the floor plan. And then we're going to switch from our floor plan view to our framing floor plan view. And then we're just going to send this over. And I'm just going to bump it into my desired position over on this side. And then next I'm going to send over that framing detail we made earlier. So to do that, I'm going to go to the floor plan, select that wall, and then I'm going to open up that framing detail. And then from here, if you needed to notate it with text or dimensions, you could. But I'm just going to send it over to the layout. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the scale since we probably have a little bit more space on the layout. And there we've got that framing detail added. This framing page is looking good, so let's go back to the cover page, and I want to show you an interesting way you can use 3D rendering to help communicate the design to your clients. Let's go back to the 3D overview we have, and let's switch our rendering technique back to our standard rendering. And you'll recall towards the beginning we briefly showed how you can overlay your as-built plan with your remodel plan in a 3D view to show you what the remodeled bathroom walls will look like. So let's go ahead and use the 3D rendering overlay to create a unique view of the addition. So to create the 3D overlay, go up to your Change Floor Reference option and then specify that you're going to be referencing a plan. Make sure you have the as-built plan picked, and from here you could change the layer set or the rendering technique you're using for the as-built plan that you're going to be referencing. And initially it doesn't look like much happened, but if you take a look at what's going on inside the plan, you can see where those previous exterior walls with those windows were located in the plan. And what we can actually do to create another unique view is if we go back to the change floor reference option, let's go ahead and change it so that our as-built plan is using the standard rendering technique. And then we're going to have the addition portion using the glasshouse view. So there we can create a unique view showing that this portion is going to be our addition, and then this portion over here is going to just be our as-built plan. If you're happy with how this looks, you can go ahead and send it over to your layout sheet. Click on OK. And then from here you could add any other text or pieces of information that you might need for your layout sheet. And that's going to conclude this demonstration.